So here's the basics VII quiz, and I ain't trying to be negative, not trying to hurt your little feelings or anything, but this was literally the worst thing I have ever graded in my career as a teacher. Congratulations. You did it. And it's just so much nonsense. Like, this is a factoring problem. A lot of kids didn't even try to factor, they try to do something else. It literally says factor. You pull a 20 from both terms is a good place to start. Heck, I had kids who told me if you pulled a 20 from 180, you got 90. No, you don't. But anyways, now it's simple. Factors of x squared are x and x. Factors of 9 are +3 and -3. Bam, done. Half my student body missed number 2 because you cannot change a sign when you jump equality. You need to understand that you're running around a 7th grade math level and you're in high school because you can't even do something simple like move a number over and change its sign. I don't know what's going on with you. Next move, divide by 4. That's -25. It was negative. I had a kid tell me you couldn't do this, probably because her calculator said you couldn't do it. You can, it's just not real. The root of a -25 is plus or minus the imaginary root of a +25. And the root of a +25 is 5. So we say plus or minus 5i. Find the inverse. 2 out of 3 of my kids set this thing equal to 0. That's not how you find inverses. Step 1, swap x and y. So we literally get the f out. X is 4y plus 8. Step 2, solve for y. Subtract 8. Heck, I had kids saying it was +8 on the other side. Are you kidding me? Divide everything by 4. Let's just stop there. X minus 8 over 4. That is the inverse of f of x. -1. We talked about this. We spent days on it, but you didn't take it home and you didn't practice it. You didn't do anything. For 10 quizzes in a row, this has been a question. For a log of A, what is true about the argument? The argument is bigger than 0. So therefore, the argument of this log, 2x minus 5, is bigger than 0. It's a two-step thing. You add 5 to both sides, and you divide by 2, and you're done. Solve for x. My God, we talk about the zero product property in Algebra 1. In Algebra 1, you talk about the zero product property. Every single one of those factors is equal to a 0. You do not multiply them together. You do not do, which is quite possibly the, oh, I'm mad about this. It is literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen in 16 years. You don't add these x's together. And kids, I want to be happy here, but man, I am mad. 4x is 0. Divide by 4. X is 0. 2x plus 1 is 0. We are 17 years old, and you're telling me we can't jump equality and change a sign? Divide by 2. X is -1/2. You ought to be able to do every bit of this problem in your head. There's a 2x minus an 8 equal to a 0. You add 8. You divide by 2. X is 4. And then there's this one, the 9x minus 1/4 equals 0. Any other year, this would have been the only one that I would have expected anybody to miss because it's got a fraction in it. You move that quarter over the other side. The opposite of multiplication is division. You throw that 9 in the denominator you already have, and you know what 9 times 4 is. Actually, you probably don't. 1/36. Again, if you can't tell it, I am hot. Find the zeros. Half my students, half of you missed this problem. I have sang you the quadratic formula 100 times. 100 times I've sang it. Wasn't a single other person that ever had you was willing to sing to you. Does x equals -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Problem is you blindly copy. You have not tried to do a single problem until you are asked to do it on a test, and the same thing keeps happening. You keep failing. You just keep failing because you don't try to do it. So why don't you pause the video and see if you can do it? If you take a -8 and square it, you get 64. 4 times 3, last I checked, was 12. Times that 2 is a 24. It's all sitting pretty over twice 3, which is 6 if you didn't know. 64 minus 24, last I checked, was a 40. All over a 6, or both over a 6, however you want to think about it. 40, algebra 1, root 40 is root 4 times root 10. Root 4 is 2 root 10. So we got an 8 over a 6 plus or minus a 2 root 10 over a 6. 8 over 6 is 4/3. Heck, we had the same one on the twin because we'd had a 2 over 6 and an 8 over 6. We just had a different number inside the radical. 2 over 6 is a third. Ones are understood. Root 10 over 3. I got 4 minutes. I'm about to eat into my time off for you again. Factoring by grouping. Been beat to death. Focus on the front of the bus. Both those pieces contain an x cubed. You want that x plus 3 factor to repeat. To do that, you got to pull a -6 because -6 times x is -6x and -6 times 3 is -18. The common factor is x plus 3. The stuff left over is x cubed minus 6. It ain't that hard. This ain't rocket science. If you want to know rocket science, I could teach you that too. But I don't think you want to learn it. I think you just want to get by. I promise you, if all you're trying to do is get by, you will fail at every aspect of your life. Every single one of them. This is f composed of g composed of x, written old school, because old school is the best school, f parentheses g parentheses x. That means that I'm going to take that 2x plus 1 and I'm going to put it right there. This means for the 100th time that every single x in f becomes 2x plus 1. So I see an x, she's a 2x plus 1. And then I take away the 2. I do the distributive property. If I can figure out the distributive property, what makes you think that Milbrath is going to pass you? Because he sure ain't. 8x plus 2, done. It didn't say set equal to 0. 1 in 3 of my kids try to set this thing equal to 0. That's not what this is. Number 9, find f composed of g of 6. Put that 6 in g. That's going to be the root of 5 6's minus a 6. That's 30 minus 6. That's root 24. Of those of you that did it, you didn't know what to do with root 24. You stopped. You stopped. Root 24 is root 4 times 6. Root 4 is 2 root 6. Now what you've done is you figured out that stuff right there. Your new goal, find f of 2 root 6. If you can't do this, you think you're going to college, you might get in, but you will drop out. You better figure it out. Whatever your life intentions are, you better figure them out in a heartbeat. I have worked too hard to see this kind of stuff out of y'all. 3 times 2 root 6, 6 root 6. I had kids tell me that the next line, they actually wrote this, and then they said it was 2 root 6. Those ain't alike, kids. One of them's got a radical. You can't take an apple and an orange and tell me you got 2 oranges. You don't. You got fruit. Here you got numbers. Number 10, determine if x minus 7. We have said this 1,000 times in class. If you are a factor, when you leave that factor, you change your sign. It's a 7 outside of the vinculum, not a -7. I had kids plug in like 2s and 3s outside the vinculum. Where did you come up with this? Like, what is wrong? What are you doing? Where are you at? Coefficients, 1, -7, 12, -84. Acronym was DMA, always has been, always will be. We drop, and then we multiply. Maybe you don't know how to multiply. 7 times 1 is 7. -7 plus 7 is 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 12 plus 0 is 12. 7 times 12 is 84. We add, we get a 0. Is it a factor? Yes, it is. Yes, the remainder is 0. Half done. 11, an arithmetic sequence has a second term of 4. I had kids who just left this blank. You couldn't even put a 4 where there was a second blank for you. Fifth term, 22. What is the first term? Are you telling me you can't push buttons on a calculator? You had a calculator. You can't sit there and think 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 3 again. Wasn't going to work, was it? I needed to get to 22. You telling me you couldn't just sit there and push some buttons? I hadn't graded 7th period. I had 3 kids couldn't do this. I had 3. Now what is it? All right, well, the difference between these two terms is 18. It's going to be a 6 because there's 3 times you add. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 6 is 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. Maybe you can't add. I don't know. You need to fix that. First term is negative 22. Number 12, missed by roughly 3/4 of my students, and I literally just taught this yesterday. Literally taught it. You didn't know what D stood for. D is for difference. And it's not like I was the first person to teach it to you. I taught it to you back in September. Miss Garner taught it to you your freshman year. What have you been doing for 3 years of high school, kids? As you move from -7 to 11, you add 18, and that pattern holds. You add 18. 18 is the difference. I saw kids plug in -7, 11, 29. You're just pulling things out of a hat and throwing them into a formula. You ain't even trying. You are wasting a lot of my time. And you're wasting your time, more importantly. You need to get it together. The first term, that's what a sub 1 is -7, plus parentheses, n minus 1. The difference is 18. This is a legit freshman math standard. The next thing is to do the distributive property. If you didn't do the distributive property, I took off points because I told you you had to do the distributive property. I did it when I did your twin. You got to do it the way you're told to do it. Oh, told you I'm hot. Y'all done made me mad. 18n minus 25 is the explicit rule for that arithmetic sequence. If you got it, awesome. Apparently, you're better than everybody else, as you should be, because you figured this out. Number 13, Mylanta, the number of kids who picked B and C. I'm saying Mylanta because I can't say anything else. Yes, the square root of 64 is 8. But the cubic root of 64 is not 8. It has not ever been 8, and it never will be 8. The cubic root of 64 is 4 because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. These shouldn't have even been on the radar, man. They were apparently really good distractors. They were supposed to be bad distractors. I was hoping when I made this question up that 99% of you would make a choice between A and D and make it 50-50, but you didn't. Now, 3 enters this 9 3 times. I had better see an x cubed. 3 enters 9 3 times, no remainder. So I need the x cubed. They both have it. 3 enters 11 3 times, but it has a remainder of 2. You know, let's go old school. 3 enters 11 3 times, 9, remainder 2. Choice D because it has the y squared. All right, moving forward, convert the decade decay model. See, I'm already supposed to be on my way home right now. Convert the decade decay model, a sub t, the amount of time after passes 35 times 7300ths raised to the t over 10 into a yearly decay model. And oh my Lanta, this is something that we did nearly every day for a long time. But whatever. If you were a fry guy at McDonald's at this point in time, you would be fired. You move the 1/10 in. I've talked about it over and over and over and over. You've done it. What's wrong? Is it because it was Friday? Your next quiz is on a Friday. Are you going to fail it too? You raise that to the 1/10 power. This is what you got. You got a 35 times 0.9690. And now it has an exponent of t. Everything else is gone. B and D gone. It's choice between A and C. And this is something that has just been beat to death. This lines up with 1 minus the ratio. So 1 minus 0.9690 cannot be 9690. This is literally 1 minus R. R is not 0.9690. R is 0.031. Oh, and the next one. Oh my gosh. Like, wow. What happens? This says x is -1. If it becomes a factor, you change the sign. This says x is 4. If it becomes a factor, you change the sign. This says x is 0. That's what that is. Because if you move the 0 over, you're just x. 16 avoided by half of you, even though we have literally spent 3 weeks on logs, and this is an easy one. Of those of you that attempted it, half of you took 2 away from 10. The opposite of subtraction has always been addition. Mr. Hatcher can hear me. I bet he's laughing a little bit because, man, I'm on it right now. Next move, it's easy. I have 4 times. The opposite of multiplication has been division since I was in 3rd grade, bro. Divide by 4. Log base 3 of x minus 3 is a 3. Half my student body put a 2 there. Log is bay. We've been doing it for weeks. We have a base of 3, an exponent of 3, and we equal x minus 3. At least 10 of you poor kids thought 3 cubed was 9. I even shouted that out in 6th period, and still 2 kids told me that 3 cubed was 9. 3 cubed has been 27 forever, and it will always be 27. The opposite of subtraction is addition. X is 30. Solve using technology. We literally did one of these every single day this past week. Every single day we did it. And you still couldn't do it. So I'm not even going to explain why it looks like this, because I've already done that and you didn't listen. And now I'm going to go push buttons. You can go to ti84calc.com and you can push buttons there. How about that? See, we got 2 ln 3x minus 4 because I do ln. Those of you that actually listened to me and did ln, you got it right more than those who attempted to do a log. Who'd have thunk? Second one, ln 2x plus 1. Sitting pretty over ln 6. Zoom 6, because that's what I've told you to do 1,000 times. But what do I know? Here's what the graph looks like. I'm going to hit second trace. I'm going to hit 5. I'm going to press the right button until my cursor shows up. And then I'm going to press enter, enter, enter. And then I'm going to write down the answer, 1.3653. And again, I know I'm probably going fast to you. Believe me, I'm only running. If I wasn't having to show the work, I'd have been done 10 minutes ago with this thing. This thing was easy. Something wrong with you. Number 18, real zeros and their multiplicity. Real zeros are where you cross the x-axis. They are x-intercepts. That's what they are. There's one here at -2. There's one here at 0. I had a lot of kids who forgot about that guy. And there's one here at x equals 1. Multiplicity is what happens when you cross. A cross has a multiplicity of 1. A touch, multiplicity is 2. A cross, multiplicity of 1. So that went 1, 2, 1. Degree and sign of the polynomial based on end behavior. It is the same old thing. The thing starts low, it ends low. Negative x to the even. I had kids pick x to the odd. It was in there twice. It wasn't going to be the right answer. Like, are you kidding me? Least degree of the polynomial based on turning point theorem. This thing has 1, 2, 3 turning points. The theorem says x to the n is the number of turning points plus 1. This thing has 3 turning points. It is x to the 4th. Known factors and their multiplicity. So if x equals -2 is a factor, that doesn't mean that x minus 2 is a factor. It means x plus 2 is a factor. It had a multiplicity of 1. If x equals 1 is a 0, x minus 1 is a factor with a multiplicity of 1. X equals 0 happens twice. That's x squared. Those 3 right there. Now, this thing starts low and ends low. That means it has to start with a negative number. That's what that means. They talk about that when you're little, like it starts in 7th grade, what the negative does. It flips the graph, kids. 7th grade math eliminated 2 choices for me. What else do I know? I know that my factors were an x squared, an x plus 2, and an x minus 1. So gone. The only 2 choices were C and B, and everybody picked B for some reason, although nobody really ever told me why they picked B. But what I do is I plug into y equals a times, I know there's an x squared, I know there's an x plus 2, and I know there's an x minus 1. There might have been 1 or 2 kids who did. I have no idea what you did, to be quite honest with them. Put a 4 in for y, and everywhere you see an x, there's a -1, and apparently this is just too hard to plug in a number. It's too hard. A -1 squared is 1, -1 plus 2 is 1, -1 minus 1 is -2. And then we just keep doing multiplication here. 1 times 1 is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 4 equals negative 2a, which means a had to be negative 2. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That was your quiz. So you just saw me do full work, 20 minutes, explaining. You could have done it, kids. I worry about you.